Right then, ladies and gents, we are continuing on with our second portion. Sorry about the lunch. If it was late, feel free to eat on your knees. She can't see you. This is Rachel Sager, and it is The Power of Place. You are here, a new project at the Ruins.
I'm thrilled to be here. I wish I could actually be here with you, but I'm looking forward to you listening and to talking afterwards a bit. So thank you. Welcome to the You Are Here project, a message from the ruins. I'm Rachel Sager, and this is the beginning of something new. A brand new collaboration of mosaic messages that has been 15 years in the making. Thank you to BAMM, the British Association for Modern Mosaic, for giving me the opportunity to introduce my message to this very special audience. You, the BAMM membership, have been collaborating with me at the Ruins since almost day one. The Ruins is a real place, but it is also a state of mind. From the very first day I bought my coal mine by accident, the Ruins has been talking to me. Its message has stayed strong and pure in my heart. You are here, Rachel. For those of you who don't know the story of the Ruins, I will attempt, as I always do, to fit it into one sentence. It's a cathedral to coal. It's a giant concrete canvas in the woods of western Pennsylvania. It's a substrate for contemporary mosaic art. It's a memorial. It's a place of teaching, a place of learning, a place to collaborate. A complicated, sacred space full of stories for people who are willing to listen. It never fits into one sentence, but I keep trying. The Ruins is my purpose. Many of you have not yet stood inside it to lay hands on its concrete, but it has been shouting and whispering its messages out through the internets and online spaces and proclaiming something that I think so many of us do feel. Being here in person is quickly becoming more important than ever, because human beings standing in front of beautiful things that other human beings have carefully made is becoming a radical experience. The word radical translates from the Latin radix, meaning root, going to the root of something, the origin, the real deal. As we watch the world change with what feels like the speed of light, with AI, crypto, and virtual everything, we may resist. We may resist the machine, but the reality is the change of the machine is not coming, it's here. I say, who better to represent the power of radical place than the mosaicist? I come from a part of the world that is littered with the ruins of America. Part Rust Belt and part Appalachia, beauty and despair, strength and tragedy. The Ruins started out as a coal mine. From 1893 to 1946, it was witness to the best bituminous coal in the world being identified, dug, burned, and its energy being used to build the modern world. Coal is fuel, and the coal from Benny No. 2 mine was the fuel that made the steel that built modernity. That 50-year history is a big part of the story we tell here, but all stories have endings. This one ended abruptly after World War II. I grew up in the shadow of that history. The ruins of coal and later steel are the stories of people who survived a life supported by industry, and of those who did not survive. The little patch towns south of Pittsburgh dug the coal that fueled the world, and when they were done digging, the people got lost in the dust made by the new America. My message, the message this place delivered to me, came in the physical form of a hulking concrete structure lost to time. A place abandoned and forgotten, but somehow along the way this place became the protagonist. The place is the hero of the story. The Ruins is celebrating its 10-year anniversary, but back in the early days, in the very first winter, It felt like a gauntlet was laid down on the ground in front of me and asking, Rachel, will you shoulder this impossibly large thing? I get great satisfaction from the fact that this particular once abandoned place now enjoys being loved, celebrated, and treasured. It's what I like to call a long game. After years of work and not a small amount of worry and angst, the ruins does a lot of the heavy lifting for me because the art on its walls speaks more clearly than all of the writing or the speaking that I can express. The coal miners and the artists, two groups of people who are very important to me, but rarely interact and often disagree about the basic truths of life. My relationships with these two unique groups are like my own personal Grand Canyon. My feet straddle the chasm between them, and for many years I felt split in two as I tried to find my place in the world. Then I bought my coal mine. The Ruins was born, and it helped me solve that problem. It gave me a stage. By building something beautiful, the artists came, and by laying a foundation of respect for the sacrifices of the past, I gave voice to forgotten people. For the last 10 years, I have made it my mission to bring these two parts of myself together to build a physical place that the world can visit. We, the artists of the ruins, make mosaic that tells not just the story of coal, but ecology, time, immigration, tragedy, and real people. The ruins taught me how to collaborate. Pre-ruins, I was a loner in the studio. In 100 years, I would not have seen a future of working with, learning with, mentoring, and teaching hundreds of other artists. Looking back, it is clear to me that something about the recipe of the blank canvas of the concrete, the sitting in time, the architecture of the buildings themselves are what invited collaboration into my life. That energy was and still is bigger than me. From Australia, India, Russia, Scotland, England, Ireland, Argentina, Mexico, Canada, Israel, Ukraine, Belgium, Brazil, Czech Republic, and dozens of states from the United States of America. Many of the ruins artists have never been here in person. Their art comes through the mail. When I enter into a relationship with one of these amazing artists, I take on a responsibility. They donate their art, and it becomes a part of the permanent story that keeps growing and evolving with each calendar year. Thousands of individual installations. It's my job to curate them all into ways that keep the story moving, but also respect the elements of design and composition. Sometimes it feels like having a conference and exhibition like this every day of my life, forever. There's a generosity going on with the arrangement of how the ruins operates. A generosity from each artist who donates their careful time in building art for its walls. The generosity from me comes in the form of devoting my life to the organization, stewardship, mentoring, and the big picture. But generosity alone is not what makes it all work. That first winter, I remember walking through the rooms and under the archways covered in blankets of snow, feeling panic and intoxication in equal measures. I could see it all unfolding. I could see the possibilities. I understood that inviting the mosaic world into this place was a key to making it become its best self. So I came up with 3 rules. 3 rules that to this day, 10 years later, are still working. They're simple, but they cover a lot of ground, and they have made the collaboration possible. Honoring what was lays a foundation for respect. The people who mine the coal of Banning Number 2, and any coal mine, anywhere, sacrificed. I believe there is a sacred nature to those sacrifices, and artists and visitors are asked to honor that. Building relationships with raw material ensures that an artist takes their time, deepens their experience, and connects with the land. And walking the line is my way of describing the language of mosaic, the classical and now often contemporary andamento, which encourages excellence in the medium. Another way of saying all of that is that the rules encourage respect, relationships, and good art. Simple. Our mosaic portraits of men, women, and children who worked to dig the coal that built the modern world are some of our most beloved art. Real people from this small place brought back to life by some of the most gifted mosaic portrait artists working today. These important artists are documenting stories in stone and preserving history in a way that makes for a uniquely human experience. But we also make native Pennsylvania birds, animals, maps of countries, and hundreds of abstract and metaphorical mosaics. All art that comes here is designed specifically to tell the story of this place. So come on in, walk across the bridge with me to the front door. This suitcase arrived along with the beautiful Prerna Fadness and her Mosaic of India tucked carefully inside it back in 2023. There was no way that Prerna was not going to make India for the ruins. She secured the agreement, made the mosaic, and delivered it in person within a few short months. I had the great pleasure of meeting her with her dear husband, and I hold that memory in my heart. I know Prerna was an important part of the BAMM community. She will be missed in our mosaic world, but we will always remember her with her India at the ruins. The story is everything. Our giant cement canvas with its wide swaths of open spaces has never been meant for covering. Like the eccentric Raymond Isidore from Maison Picassiette in France to Isaiah Zagar at his Philadelphia Magic Gardens, mosaic can be powerful in mosaic of space covered. But the ruins needs to keep its negative space in order to give breathing room to the stories. It's meant to be walked through slowly, stopping to listen. Stories have rhythm and beats, turning points and rising actions, and endings. The longer I work at this, the more it feels like poetry. What is left out is becoming almost as important as what is invited in. Another Man's Boots is the title for this award-winning sculptural mosaic by Helga Maribel Sanchez. Two boots, one a soldier, the other a miner, made from Youghiogheny shale and ruins coal on the outside, precious gold smalty on the inside to symbolize the interior of the minds and hearts of men who do hard jobs, often in silence. Once upon a time, this was known as the hot mess wall. Not everything falls into place or makes sense right away. I have learned to have patience as certain areas develop in slow time. I have the luxury of not working under deadlines. I own this place. I live here. I get to not be in a hurry. I have to repeat that to myself sometimes. Over 100 gears, sprockets, cogs, and wheels. It's a big old bear hug to the mosaic world. One of the first group calls, this one took the ruins international overnight. We watch visitors stand in front of it and be overwhelmed by its beautiful cacophony of voices. This is one that is almost impossible to take in one visit, and people will come and for repeat visits and think they see something brand new when it's been there the whole time, so it tricks you. Over the years, I have shortened rule number 2 to simply building relationships. The relationships between people. Artist to artist, coal miner to artist, traveler to local, long gone ancestors to contemporary problem solvers. People make connections here. I have the honor of facilitating many of those connections, but sometimes I just sit back and watch them happen with energy that is beyond my control. I am fascinated by the mysterious recipe that makes for successful collaborations. Just because two people look good on paper, just because they should work well together, doesn't mean they will. As the ruins matures into its full strength, I look at the relationships between the artists as one of its greatest achievements. One of the truths I have learned from these years is the importance of collaborating with the right people. What makes a person right? Ask yourself a few simple questions to answer this. Can you spend hours and days cooped up with them in the studio, working together, and come out the other side still liking each other? Does your energy level rise by being with them, and vice versa? Skills and talent are important, but I consider them secondary because skills can be learned. If a person has a good work ethic, they will learn. It's harder to solve personality clashes. And then there is the wooing of the descendants. It has taken so much longer than I expected to pull the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of Banning number 2 into these rooms. Seeing their husbands and fathers and grandmothers' faces on the walls became the way to invite them in and draw them out. The children of coal miners and artists from faraway places together on one tour, sharing their stories and building connections. And then sometimes they are the same people, an artist whose father worked in a mine so that they wouldn't have to. We've learned that simply asking a person to share their story does not always work. They need to be wooed, and mosaic portraits are the portal into that relationship. Sometimes their memories are stuck or buried or almost forgotten. Watching them let their guard down as they realize that they are VIPs in this strange place is a bittersweet experience. The first of the organized collaborations at the ruins was the Patch House Project. The patch is a colloquial term very local to the coal towns around Pittsburgh that means the tiny villages built by the coal companies to house the workers and their families. Humble, built in straight grid-like patterns and each a carbon copy of the next. If you grew up in the patch, you were separated from the rest of the coal mine hierarchy. The story we tell of the ruins is by default a very masculine one. The miners were men. But by building patchwork quilts in mosaic, this was a clicking into place of the bigger story. It celebrates the home, the domestic side of the miner's threshold, the family. Using the classic American art form of the quilt to represent the feminine power behind the men. 110 artists, each making a house. From left to right, you can see the scrap quilt, 63 houses built 100% from the picassiette of broken dishes, many of them vintage grandmother plates. Each artist was encouraged to share stories about their project. I organized quilting bees on Zoom to help solve problems during the making stages. This project was open to all, so there were many beginners and even a few first-timers. The bee events help keep mistakes to a minimum. I had the house templates 3D printed into physical frames that each participant purchased and used as their permanent frame substrate. The Smalty quilt in the center was designed with a barn quilt on its facade, so each artist was free to choose their own pattern. You can see old favorites like the flying geese, 9 patches, pinwheels, log cabin patterns. We all went to quilt school. And the stone quilt on the right was the simplest house, almost like a little Irish cottage. Each quilt has its own distinct personality. While there's no single inventor, the phrase "you are here" is a product of mid-century modernist design thinking. This is the Ruins Legend, a very recent addition that gives the visitor a key to recognize the many metaphors and archetypes here. We stand in front of the legend at the very end of the tour after visitors have been introduced to the bigger visions. They get one last message about the story. I'm going to be adding clay markers that give the words that correspond to the symbols soon. The clay circle carries the message. 4.5 inches in diameter, deeply stamped with the 3 words. 3 words that are always true. Simple, earthy, a universal phrase that invites us to create wildly different mosaics while at the same time being recognizable as part of a bigger vision. A You Are Here mosaic can be literal, it can be meditative, it can be a shock to the system as someone whizzes by it on a fast-moving bicycle. This is a new kind of collaboration. It takes the ruins philosophy, digging into the power of place, and shoots it out into the world, into the unique vision of any artist who chooses to embrace it. Like an octopus with many arms, I envision this project as reaching out to faraway places with mosaic messages. Have you ever thought to yourself why you are attracted to collaborating with others? I think it's a primordial biological instinct. We know, even if we can't quite put it into words, that we are stronger working together than alone. A lot has happened in these 10 years since the ruins' inception. We, and when I say we, I mean myself and you, all of you, have been growing stronger. We know more stuff. We've been making things happen. The collaboration here has blossomed into collaborations in so many other places. The You Are Here project is already happening. I'm just putting a symbol to it and giving it a little bit of formality. How is it different from a traditional ruins project? I think the answer is you are in charge instead of me. You Are Here is a way to work with the ruins philosophy. You may choose to adopt the 3 rules, even if you never get here in person. It gives you the opportunity to take the power of place everywhere else. For the last year, I have been working on the first examples, in part because I'm so excited about it, but also so I can show you how many ways the message can be interpreted. I call these first dozen or so the beta testers. Myself and a handful of others have been creating a testing ground of You Are Here's. We've been choosing places and making mosaic that speaks for those places. This is my house. I've been looking at a boarded up window on its first floor since I moved in. I finally used this as an excuse to build a bespoke mosaic that is a window, that is also a landscape, that is also a map. One of the challenges of the project is setting your clay tag into a composition. The element of design is a key to being successful. What is the minimum you need to participate? You need a You Are Here tag. Happily, there is a booth hosted by BAMM where you might, if you move fast enough, get one from the first limited release batch. I know that the lucky few who got themselves a spot in Tracy and Allison's workshop will be getting theirs as part of that special experience. If you miss your chance, I have been assured that there will be second and third batches fired. The tags I have designed and kiln fired for freeze-thaw longevity are available through my website, but only for domestic shipping. So the first year of the project will be based in America and the UK. This is your weekend. This is your opportunity to join the project by getting your tag. I have built an online learning experience just specifically for this project. Every chapter is tailored to help you make an amazing You Are Here. This Mosaic Arts online course goes live this week. Woohoo! I pull you deeper into the philosophy, the possibilities, the place choosing, all the ways to make, to have fun and make good art. Being successful, aka making a You Are Here that delights or inspires or teaches people out in the world. The longer I have lived inside of this project, the more it gives. It's a design course. I think design is something that the mosaic world needs more of. Many of you in the audience have committed yourselves to mosaic learning, whether on the student side, the teacher side of the aisle, or both. But the reality is we are making a lot of things up as we go along. We have had to build our own schools. There is a self-taught mosaicist inside every one of us. As a student of the course, I ask you very direct questions about how your project might be different if you choose your composition first and then find its place, Or maybe you have already immediately chosen a place as you sit here listening to me and are now wondering what image might speak for that place. It's a fascinating difference in approach that matters. Kind of like a QR code. These messages can be generated ad infinitum by us, real humans, real artists with hammers and nippers and mortar and tessera. For any of us paying attention, the creative world is changing at a speed never before experienced in history. AI, whether you embrace it or reject it, is here. I have decided to see the job of the mosaicist in this new world as a way to shock people back into real life, to remind them of the miracle that is a human being standing in front of a piece of art. Who knows? Maybe in a few more years, this real life experience will have become the new counterculture. But turns out we, the mosaicists, have the inside track to being the ultimate anti-venom to the AI Leviathan. I think some people chuckle to themselves when they hear me say mosaic is the most powerful medium. But think about it. Mosaic, in person, out in the world, has always been a quintessentially human experience. I've seen a few unfortunate AI-generated mosaics, and they are so clearly wrong, so clearly lacking in authenticity. I recoil from them. There's something about mosaic AI that is worse than other AI art, because we understand the realness of the angles of light, the slight differences between each interstice, the subtle textures between sandstone and marble, how the mosaic feels. Mosaic may be the last of the arts to be taken up by the AI. Maybe. Our medium is poised to perfectly straddle this compression of time that we're living through. Because of the speed in which it's happening, it feels kind of like time travel. It's just too fast. But stone, hammer, mortar, substrate, there is an honesty to mosaic. I want to capitalize on that very specifically honest human energy. Double down on the power of the right here, the right now. The more people begin to spend and build their lives online, the more precious the real becomes. What will be your "you are here"? Will you go historical and dig into the past of your town? Will you go more whimsical and choose a native animal silhouette? Or maybe you'll build a map. In the MAO course, I devote entire chapters to the art of designing messages for people to discover. Messages that will stop a traveler in their tracks, to take photos with, to share it, to learn about a place. I've spent much of this year embedded into design, the compositions, the colors, the materials that make a "You Are Here" into an unforgettable destination. They can be tiny but memorable, like this little mouse. They can be big and ambitious. They can be made by one artist or a whole team, public or private, simple or complex, personal or universal. They can be memorials, welcome signs, invitations to meditate. No matter what your mosaic choices, your message will communicate the power of place and time, here and now. A reminder that even though the world is changing too fast, you are still here. I don't know where this project will go. I don't know what it will look like at the end of 2026, but, and I say this with great intention, I didn't know where the ruins would go 10 years ago. The where for this project is going to be very much up to you. So I invite you in, and I invite myself into your "You Are Here's." I can't wait to see what you come up with. Yes, I made this mosaic QR code, and yes, it works. You can click on it and let me know. Let me take you one more place before I sign off. As we stand at the precipice of losing sight of what is real and what is illusion, maybe think of yourself as more than just an artist who makes mosaic, but a guidepost builder, a cartographer for those seeking to remember, and those committed to not forgetting.
That were a bit good, wasn't it? Just to be clear, these are not for sale. Tracy's eyebrowing me. These are what she's got in for, but you are free to come and have a look at them. They are the You Are Here roundels that we've just been speaking about. Has anybody got any questions for Rachel?
I would have loved a tour around the buildings and the ruins.
You have to go there.
Yeah.
We would just say we would have loved a tour around the buildings and the ruins, but unfortunately we're going to have to come visit you in Pittsburgh. Rachel, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, brilliant. Haha. Fantastic. Question?
Hi. I just wanted to ask, lovely to see you. I just wanted to ask if the You Are Here's are meant to go back to the ruins or stay where you are?
Yes, I guess I thought I said that in the talk, but maybe I didn't. Yeah, they are definitely not meant to come back to the ruins. They are meant to be in your chosen place, wherever that is. And that's kind of the twist on the whole story.
Will she be documenting the ones around the world? Is there a way of...
Yes. So for now, I am encouraging people to dive into the online course because there's so much happening in there. And for now, that's where the documentation will happen. At the end, there's this beautiful place I'm calling the Mosaic Atlas. I just figured this out a few weeks ago. That's why it's not in the speech. So that will live inside of the course. But as the project develops, I think the way I'm looking at this, Helen and everyone, is that I'm hands off, really. This is about everyone else. So, the UK has made some of their own tags, I think. I haven't seen them yet, but I think it would be really great for each community to do their own documenting. And then let's see where we are at the end of 2026. And then I'm sure that I will be writing on this on my Substack on a regular basis. So that's probably where things will happen, but maybe not in a formal way yet. I think that's my answer.
Hello, Rachel. Are you saying that the sense of place that you're building at the ruins, this is a way of encouraging people to transport that sense of place elsewhere? Is that kind of what this is about?
So I think what the gist of that is transporting the sense of placemaking elsewhere. And yes, that's exactly what this is about. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if we're thinking of becoming involved in this, it starts from really doing some deep thinking about what place means to us. So this is beyond, it seems to me that what you're asking of the participants is beyond just a making exercise.
Beyond just a what exercise?
A making exercise.
Beyond just a making exercise. Yes. Yeah, I think the key to this is that there aren't any rules. You know how when you choose to be a ruins artist, and I gave you some parameters, and I'm the boss. I'm not the boss of this at all. I'm just giving some inspiration for a way to come together with a message, which is the 3 words: you are here. So you can literally do anything you want with this. I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah, anything. And whatever you end up doing, I will be thrilled to talk about and to write about. So it's an open kind of a project.
Hi, you were talking about people coming and talking about the stories and the people who worked in the mine, and I wondered if you were documenting those stories.
In some ways, yes. Yes, I guess, what the live tour is one way to experience the ruins, and that's where a lot of the storytelling happens, and every tour is different. I have Erica Johnson is my main tour guide, but I give the tours also. So That's the real world experience that I was referring to in the talk. And so we do tell real stories, but it's always fragments of stories. So we're not historians. And I don't claim to be an historian, although I do revolve around some here, with this coal mine. And then the Substack, where I write things, those, I do tell parts of stories. But again, they're fragments. It might be something in the future that gets more documentation, but I think for now it's, like the boots are an example. Another man's boots sculpture, helping people to feel that emotion of putting their feet into the boots of a 19th century coal miner is our way of telling a story in a fragment and making you, the visitor, a part of the story. That's more the vibe that we approach storytelling from at the ruins.
Hi, Rachel. I'm very much about community, and I do a lot of maps, mosaic maps with communities. I have for many years, and we almost always include "You Are Here" in the maps. From a young child realizing this is that experience of being grounded in a space. To be part of the project, do we have to have one of your roundels?
They can absolutely make their own, yes. For the Americans, I can only ship domestic right now in my little business. So I'm encouraging the Americans to use my tags for now, just to keep a cohesiveness to the project. But that's why Tracy and Allison have incorporated the tags that they made into the workshop that I think has not happened yet. I forget what the timeline on that was, but like I said, I'm not the boss of this. If you want to take the message and maybe look at the font that I used and try to keep the feeling of it and go out on your own, absolutely. Again, there are no rules on this one. It's hard to get our head around. No rules. But I did hear you say something about the "You Are Here" being one of the universal messages on maps. I researched it a little bit, and it was I think it was adopted by a designer in the 50s, and it's just become kind of a universal. The little map pin that you see when you see it on Google Maps. It's everywhere. That's one of the reasons that the map pin image that I wanted to make in the course was one of the first images I knew I was going to make, because it's so recognizable. And it's kind of shocking to see it in a mosaic instead of in your phone in a little virtual image. To see it in real life is, I think a big part of the excitement for me about this project is surprising people. And I don't mean us, I mean the people that will see the mosaic wherever it is in the world. Creating an image that you wouldn't expect, whether it's a little animal sitting on top of your tag or, your tag put inside of a bigger animal that might be, a native animal to your place, or the map pin or the map imagery. I mean, you could just build a whole map. You could do a community project and build a big map and put the "You Are Here" right where it's supposed to be in a map. There's just no end to the interpretations for this.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Rachel. That's been brilliant, very insightful, and we hope to see more of you work very soon. So give a round of applause for Rachel, please. Thank you. Bye.